Art Alexakis, Everclear, thank you so much for being here, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Good to see
Ab-
you.
Absolutely. So, Summerland tour, it's going to be at Billy Bob's July 9th. Hell of a lineup that we're getting here in DFW. And, it's kind of sneaky. I don't know if people know this, but the Summerland tour, it's your thing. And, it's been going almost 10 years now, right?
Yeah, about nine
Yeah.
years. I think this is the 8th year of it, or actually last year would have been the 8th year. I think we had 7 years um, in a row, but and then 2020 popped its ugly little head up. But I just it's been so much fun doing this, and this year I wanted to do something just kind of balls to the wall rock, like old school 80s, late 80s, early 90s rock. And having Living Color on the bill is just a big deal for me. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm
It's,
gonna be on the side of the stage every night, just going to school. You know what I'm saying?
It's a big
Learning.
deal for me too. I know I talked to Doug Robb from Hoobastank last week, and he said the same thing.
I
He's so
don't blame
excited
him.
about Living Color.
Yeah, man, they're legends, dude. They're legendary, and I've met um uh I met the guys a couple of times at different like things and saw them play last, like in 2019. We did a radio show and they followed us, closed the show, and I was just like, I was on the phone with my manager going, dude, we need to see if we can get them for a Summerland tour. They would be awesome. And it there you go. And then we got Hoobastank and Weedus, and it just feels like a great package.
It's a great lineup. I have to wonder when you came up with this thing, back however many years ago, and you go, okay, Everclear's going to do a tour. We're going to get some other bands on this. We're going to give it a cool name and theme. You couldn't have thought you'd be still doing it in 2021, right?
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know if it was going to catch or if it was too soon. In hindsight, it seemed like it was a little too soon. I knew everybody had talked about doing a 90s like alternate, 90s alternative tour of bands, but no one had done it. It pulled the trigger. So I had the idea and I called my buddy Mark from Sugar Ray, and he had the idea. I mean, everybody had. And we decided to do it together and see how it goes. And after that, I decided I want it to be a little bit more rock. And so he went off and did his thing, and I did Summerland. I think he did his tour Under the Sun for 2 years after that. But it's hard keeping the tour going, man. It's hard, branding and getting people to think outside their own box. But I think it's definitely got name recognition now, and hopefully after this year, especially with no one playing shows for a year and a half. We're out doing shows in April, May. We got a show this weekend, and just people are losing their minds
Yeah.
about it's just. And when I'm up there, I'm just like, it's just to hear drums. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, drums and big guitars. I don't care who it is. I'm in, man. I am buying a ticket to that show. And hopefully, and it seems like people are really picking up on it. Actually, Billy Bob's is selling really well, as it always does, man. That's a great place for us. It's a great funky old um, vibe there, and the people that run it are awesome. And it's just, I can't wait to play it.
Well, and
Get a
you've
steak
you've
down the street.
yeah, no, absolutely. There's so many great places to walk. I was telling Doug because you've obviously been there, but people who don't know and they go do a rock show there, it's a honky tonk, and they do probably only, I don't know, 5 to 10 rock shows in a whole year because it's mostly country. And so when they get the rock bands in there, it's really kick ass, as you know.
Dude, and it's friggin' huge.
Yeah,
You don't know how big it is, but the thing is, it's like the first stage area. If you put 1,000 people in there, it looks great.
yeah.
But then you put in another 1,000, and they're like back here, and then there's the restaurant over there, and then there's this over here, and there's a dance floor. Dig this. Last time we played there, I think it was Summerland, either 2018 or 2016, I forget. But we were doing sound check, and we were doing a song of ours called Heroin Girl. I don't know if you know that song. And it's like, it's kind of a punk rock song, but on the back dance floor, they were giving a two-step lesson, right?
Yeah.
Like a country two-step lesson. And they heard their music, but someone filmed it from a place where they like all you could hear is Heroin Girl, and it looks like these people are two-stepping in time to Heroin Girl. It's awesome, dude. If I can find it, I'll send it to you.
Oh, that'd
It's
be
so
great.
it's so
That,
cool.
that sounds like a
Um,
viral video waiting to happen.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
you kind of touched on it, but I think I'm interested. I haven't until last week, and now with you, there haven't been any shows for us to promote. So I haven't been doing many interviews, and I haven't been talking to anyone about the touring process. And usually, you know how it is. Like when you go to an interview, someone who hasn't done their homework, they're asked about, oh, what's the touring process like? What's your bus like? Da da da. But this time, it actually is. It's a whole new ball game. So I'm interested. And you said you guys have played a few shows already. What are the things that are coming to mind that you're like, oh, this is going to be different now, or I'm going to have to be aware of this now?
well, I mean, just safety, that's actually a good call. First of all, everybody in my band and crew are vaccinated. That was that was a given. It
Yeah,
just I had to talk with everyone and said, "Look, man, I caught COVID in January, and I was basically in bed for almost 2 months. It hit me really hard because I don't know if you know, but I was diagnosed a few years ago with MS, with
yeah,
multiple sclerosis. So that just means my immune system is just not very strong, and I was, it hit me really, really hard. I'm still dealing with it. That's why I was coming from physical therapy today. That's why I was late for the interview. But I'm doing well. I'm just building up my strength and, fighting muscle atrophy and all that stuff. But the point is, we have to be conscious and open about everything. Like the Living Color guys, they're all in their 50s and 60s. They're like, the backstage has got to be cleaned up. Um, Everybody's got to wear masks backstage unless they have proof of vaccination. And I agreed with that. And I'm just like, yes, that's the way it's going to have to be because we're older and younger people, it doesn't hit them as hard, but still, even my 13-year-old just got her second vaccination. So she's done. We're all done. My family, my wife's mother and aunt who are here today are, you know, they're in their 60s and 70s, and we're all the way down, just trying to be really responsible about it. And that's going to happen. And the shows we've played have been up until the last couple of weeks were pretty like socially distanced
yeah,
until they got really drunk.
yeah. Sure.
It's like the show would start with masks and people like 5 feet apart, but you start playing uh, Father Mine and Santa Monica and Wonderful and I'll Buy You a New Life, and the drinks start flowing and the nostalgia starts flowing. You know, the masks are flying in the air, and
Yeah.
that's what
Well,
happens.
well, but I think you touched on it. It's like everyone is so eager to be a part of live music, the fans and the bands, that it's like, it doesn't seem like too much, the extra steps that you have to go through, right?
It doesn't. It doesn't seem like too much for us just to be in society. Get the shot, respect other people, and let's get back and open this country up and get things going. The numbers are going in the right direction. Let's do the right thing. But I agree with you. And even on tour, it just doesn't it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. Some people will make it that way, but most people that I talk to all over. And to be honest with you, most of the shows that we've been doing have been in red states, right?
Hmm.
So it's been pretty responsible. And I just got the protocol from I haven't gotten the one from Billy Bob's yet, but the one from that we're doing in Austin, in Cedar Park outside of Austin,
Hmm.
they've got a super pretty stringent backstage protocol uh, for um, for the COVID. To be honest with you, we haven't done any inside shows yet.
Yeah.
They've all been outside. And most of this tour, I'd say 90% of this tour is outside. The shows in Texas, inside.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, there's trade-off, right? Because, when you're outside in Texas in the summer, you could also die of heat stroke. So,
Especially me, I'm very susceptible to heat, right, with the
yeah.
MS. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a trade-off. I just I think people I think it's like you said, it's not that big of a deal if you just do a certain few things and just respect other people. You know, you want to wear a mask? I don't want to wear a mask. Fine. Okay. But don't criticize people for not wearing masks. Don't criticize people for wearing masks. Just protect yourself and move on. Be a grown up.
Well, I
That's
think
that's been my thing.
Yeah, I think it's, for me, it's like, well, this is supposed to be the incentive, right? The incentive to getting vaccinated is we get to go to a rock show again. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody gets to go and have a good time, So I think things like that are important, frankly.
I do
Um,
too. I think, and because that's just, and I agree with what you're saying, but I would add to it and say that going to a rock show, going to a movie theater, going to places where other people are, is a return to normalcy, to normal life, right?
yep.
And that's you gotta pay the piper. You got to do the things that you got to do to get there. I mean, our kids don't go to school without vaccinations. No one. My bass player, he just had a baby who's just going through her vaccinations now. They suck. She hates them,
Mhm.
but it's what it is.
Yeah.
But uh, but regardless of that, without getting political about it or anything like that, I just want people to respect, come to the shows, have a great time, um, respect what other people and be aware. And I think if you do that, the way the numbers are going, I think we're all going to be okay.
Yeah, I agree. And you touched on um your MS diagnosis a couple times there, and then I didn't know about the COVID in January. I'm glad you're doing
It was
uh
brutal, man. It was.
yeah.
I was
Well,
in the hospital for over a week.
that's well, and you mentioned it, the differences between someone in your situation with the immune system to someone in my situation. I got it last summer. I was completely asymptomatic. I mean, I wouldn't even known that I had it except I wanted to go visit my grandparents. So I got tested.
Right.
So anyways, um,
But but how old are you?
I'm 34.
Okay. So trust me, when I was 34, before I had MS, I would have I never got sick, man. I had health insurance for years and never used it. I got it more for my family,
Yeah.
for my wife and my daughters. Now it's and I've been paying into it for years, so now I'm getting my money's worth.
Right on.
Um, but I'm glad that that's what happened to you. But I got to tell you, when I was in the hospital, this guy came in, young guy, strong, um, uh, tattoos, kind of biker looking dude. He was in the room next to him, and he recognized me and waved at me as he walked by. And he had a hard time breathing, but felt pretty good. In 3 days, he was in the ICU. In 3 more days, he was dead.
Uh,
Um, and there was another young woman where that happened. It depends upon the person, man. It
yeah.
just does, you know. And I'm glad that you got through it and you caught it and didn't give it to your grandparents. That would have sucked,
Yeah.
right?
No, talk about something I would have had trouble living with. Yeah.
How are they doing?
They're great. They're great. They got their shots, right away. One of the things we actually did do a really good job of in Texas is getting the elderly vaccinated early. So
I will give Abbott credit for that. Yes, I
yeah.
will.
So yeah, they're great. Thank you for asking. So aside from I thought it was really cool how you made the public announcement about your diagnosis a couple years ago, and you've been so open with it as you've been with your sobriety. And, just wondering how, aside from the COVID thing, how it's going, how you're feeling.
Well, thank you for asking. Man, before COVID, I felt pretty great. You talk about the heat. So people with MS and most autoimmune diseases are pretty susceptible to heat and very sensitive to it. Um, I swim in my pool. I built a pool in my backyard. When we bought this house, I knew that we either had to buy a house with a pool or a place to put a pool. And I put a pool back in there and I use it just about every day. And it really helps my symptoms of going to PT and just doing all this stuff. And diet has a lot to do with it. But to be honest with you, the COVID, um, made it worse, you
Yeah.
know, made it a little bit harder. You're 34, I'm 59. As you get older, things just get harder. They do. You're not in a place yet, but in 10 years, you'll start to feel some aches and pains, more so. You'll be like, where the hell did that come from? I work out, I eat good every day. Your body's starting to break down, man. It is what it is. And I liken MS to just like if you're carrying a 20-pound weight, this is another 15 pounds that someone just throws on. So it
Wow.
makes everything harder, you know?
Yeah.
But but I'm a kind of guy that can push through stuff. And with MS, I push through when I get sick or a cold. I push through and do it. COVID, you couldn't push through. The harder you tried to fight it, the harder it fought back. And
Yeah.
that's what put me in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, because I had it for like 4 or 5 days, and I thought, oh, this is good, pretty mild, you know, and then it just came back and got me, and put me in the hospital. And but as far as the MS goes, I just it's just a thing, man. It's like anything in your life. I'm sober. My 32nd sobriety birthday is coming up next week, and
Congrats.
yeah, thank you, brother. And it's like anything. I'm very grateful for my disease in a lot of ways because it's taught me gratitude. It's taught me how to figure out how to do things in a different way when I have limitations. And because of that, I think it's helped me be successful because I don't think I would have been successful in music without my sobriety. And the MS is teaching me how to be a dad and how to be a husband, how to be a guy in a band, how to be a man in a different way, just in a different way, and how to adjust, how to build up my strengths and capitalize on my strengths, and at the same time, how to work on the things where I'm weak, and work on those and build those up. So you know, I know you could probably tell that I'm back in college working on my psychology degree, my psychology, and my certified life coach, and that's what I'm going to do. And keep doing. I'm going to keep doing the band until they take my guitar away from me. But I want to do. I going through this has taught me something about. I really want to give back. I know it sounds like a Hallmark card, but I really feel a need to give back now, and to just to be someone who promotes growth and health and happiness, and that's what I want to do while still being in the band.
Well, I identify that with that a lot. You talk about giving back and um the sobriety thing. I'm in the club too. I'm gonna have 10 years in December, God willing.
Oh, well,
And
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, man. And I've loved some of the stuff you've talked about. I think for me, and I hear it in you too, it's helped me be so much more vulnerable openly. And I hear it in you right now. And the thing about giving back and service and everything. But the thing I'm amazed at with you is, if I have the math right, you got sober before the band broke big and stayed sober.
Before the band even started.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah. No, I got sober in 1989, June 15th, 1989. and I didn't meet Craig until April of '92. You know, so I
Yeah.
was 4 years sober, um, and it was, you know, that's 10. That's a hard time. That first 5 years, man, you get cocky around 5 years, and it's like, you know, I did too. Luckily, I didn't um, go over the edge of it.
Yeah.
Getting 10 years, man, that is a hell of a um, accomplishment, and being of service, being like I didn't sponsor anyone for years, and I wasn't a sponsee, and now I'm sponsoring people, and I have I have a sponsor, and I love the work. I just love the work, and even though I was sober for a long time, in my 30s when the band was breaking, my my program wasn't very strong. uh, I was I was what they call dry drunk, you
Yeah.
know, and but I was feeding my sex addiction, which was easy to do when you get a hit band, right?
Yeah.
And you know, all these other things, and now it's like, I don't know about you, but I am so grateful for my sobriety and my disease, because whether I like it or not, it's a part of me. And by acknowledging it and being present and being of service and being compassionate with everyone, including myself, I it's just made me stronger and happier, just happier.
No,
And, you
I
know,
agree. I to hear you say that you were white knuckling it through those times
I
in the late
feel
90s,
that
like that's grace of God stuff, right? Because for me,
ab-
I appreciate the tools of my recovery today more than ever because I'm further away from I'm not literally further away. We all know it could be, today or tomorrow that it happens, but I'm further away from the last time that I was at the bottom of the barrel. So I need to reach for that stuff, for the tools in the tool chest, so to speak, more than ever at almost 10 years. Because I don't know about
yeah,
you, but like I get in these little funks where I'll start focusing on, the stuff I don't have, right? What's not going in my career or what I haven't achieved yet and all this stuff. And then, of course I have to sit there and go, from time to time, oh my God, I forgot like 10 years ago, every day was like, if I just stayed sober today, then that was a huge accomplishment. And sometimes I just have to do that, and go, today I stayed sober and I'm okay.
that's being present. That's what I was talking about, and being focused um, on what's really, really important. Of like, yeah, man, my relationship isn't going well. I'm not doing exactly what I want to do. I feel like I'm plateauing. I'm doing all this, and those are like, when it comes down to it, compared to being in a drunk take, pissing your pants drunk, getting into fights, all that. What we're complaining about are champagne problems, man,
Yeah.
you know? And it's just, you really get focused on your blessings and what the blessings are. And the acceptance that everything is, except in like Hallmark movies, life is just, it's a roller coaster. And when I was drinking, it was doing this. When I was doing drugs, it was doing this. Now it does this.
Yeah.
I like that better.
Yeah.
You know, that's better.
Yeah. I agree.
And you're doing it, dude. So I'm
Well,
glad
thanks.
you had that epiphany. That's wonderful. Well, we just turned this a meeting. You know?
Well, you know what? I got to the
We're
point.
gonna end with the serenity prayer.
I probably won't go that far. I'll honor the traditions a little bit there, but I
That's
do.
okay.
I went. I went. Probably 9 years of it, and I didn't really ever talk about it. And I just, yeah, I talk about epiphany. I had a thing. I do videos now about it. I'm real open about it. Our company's been real supportive of the bringing out the awareness and of me being open about it and stuff, because like what I do on the radio, like we're fun, we're nostalgia, we're upbeat music, all that stuff. There's not always the place for me to talk about being a heroin addict and an alcoholic. But so I do talk about it a lot, but I had to get to that place where I was okay with it. And I think I do think it's really important because I think you think of like where we are today in society with it versus where we were even 5 years ago. And I think we don't get there without people like you being open talking about it.
And people like you
Well,
as
thank you.
well. Yeah, no, no, and in our own way, and doing that is both a catharsis for us, and it's also being of service.
Yeah.
And that's why me being doing life coaching, and I'm the first certification I'm getting, and you'll dig this, is I'm getting my alcohol drug certification to run groups and stuff like that. And then I'll get my bachelor like right after that because I've already got an AA degree from way back. And by the way, I'll be the first person with a college degree of all my siblings. I'll be the
Wow.
first one, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal for me. My oldest daughter got a college degree before I did, which is interesting. But it just shows you, man, it's never too late. You want to make a change in your life, in your career, it's never too late. And you're only 34, dude. You're smart. You're attractive. You've 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 been through some crap. You're learning, and it feels to me like you're open to learning and putting ego in your back pocket so it doesn't get in the way of learning, because that's what it's all about to me, is learning every day. Every
Well, I
meeting I
appreciate
go
it.
to, I want to learn.
I appreciate it,
Yeah.
man. I do try to do that. I try to never walk into any situation assuming that I have all the answers. That's really important for me. Because sometimes I feel like the smartest guy in the room, but I have to put myself in that place of you're not. You're not, JT. But listen, man, this is
Well,
this has
you know
been
what, man?
go ahead.
Maybe you are. Who knows? But, but, but making the assumption arrogance my whole life, because most of the time I was the smartest guy in the room. I used to rub it in people's faces, and now I'm content to just learn from people. A lot of times, learning what not to do, you know,
Yeah.
learning how not to act. That's great. You can learn that from the dumbest person in the room, and it's I think it's funny that you say that. Anyway, listen, man, thanks for having me on. I got to jump to another. It's been wonderful talking to you. I hope you come out to Billy Bob's, man. I'd love to meet you in person.
I will absolutely be there and I'll put the word out because I'd love to meet you too, Art. Thank you so much for your time, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, talk to the publicity person to get my number, and yeah, let's go to a meeting or something when I'm in town. That'd be
That would
great.
be that would be to the moon, man. Let's do it for sure.
Let's do that for sure. Thanks, JT.
All right. Thanks, Art. Have a good one.
Do you have any other questions about the band or the tour?
We're good. Do you want to plug anything else besides the show at Billy Bob's?
No, man. The show at Billy Bob's is going to be off the hook. I hope everybody can come out. We're not going to be alcoholics and drug addicts. We're going to be playing rock and roll, and I hope everybody makes it out to see Everclear, Living Color, Hoobastank, and Wheatus. It's going to be a great show.
We'll be there, man. July 9th, Billy Bob's. Art, have a great day, okay?
Thanks, brother. You too.
Later.
Bye-bye.